I think Ben Simmons is in for a bounce back season. Now, he obviously missed the entire 2022 season, and then he didn't really play much in the 2023 season. He's obviously dealt with some back issues and some other injuries as well, but I think Ben Simmons is going to have a fully healthy season in 2024. And the thing is, I don't think Ben Simmons ever really regressed. I mean, there's been a lot of things about, his shooting and him not, being willing to shoot, and then just other things with his game as well. And it seemingly looked like, he's losing a step or something like that. But really, I don't think that's the case. It's just that Simmons hasn't really been healthy. And like I said, I get that he's dealt with, a lot of different issues, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, right, with back or nerve issues and other things like that. But I think Simmons is in for a really, really good year in 2024. I think the one thing, though, preventing Simmons from possibly having, a bounce back year is the fact that he may not even be the starting point guard. Spencer Dinwiddie, right, came over from the Mavericks. He was a starting point guard for the rest of the 2023 season. And Ben Simmons came off the bench. And if you guys remember, Jacques Vaughn made a comment saying how he doesn't really know how to use Simmons, given the fact that he can't really shoot that well, right? He's not that aggressive offensively, so it's tough to kind of fit him in certain lineups. But the advantage with Simmons is that he's a 6'10 point guard, right? You could theoretically play him at center, and he'd be an excellent, 4 or 5 man, and he could really play any position because of that, and he can even guard all 5 positions. I mean, we're forgetting that Simmons is one of the best defenders in the NBA when healthy. And on top of that, he's also one of the best playmakers. That combo alone is already going to make him an extremely versatile player and a really elite player heading into this upcoming season. But I think the thing that is going to help Simmons the most this year is the Nets roster construction. Nobody is really talking about how good this roster actually is. I mean, if Simmons can actually earn this starting spot, we're talking about a lineup that is insanely tall, and it's full of defensive juggernauts. I mean, let's just say Ben Simmons gets that starting point guard spot. He's 6'10", he's running your point. Then you have Mikal Bridges. He's a 6'6", 6'7" point guard. Extremely long wingspan. Great defender. Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith, right? They got the forward spots. They're both excellent defenders. Solid three-point shooters as well. And then you got Nick Claxton manning the paint. He's become one of the best setters in the NBA. Excellent shot blocker. Excellent rim runner, right? That defensive lineup would just be ridiculous. I mean, just with that, I would expect the Nets to be a top 10 defense at least. And the thing with that starting lineup is they have a whole bunch of 3-and-D wings to complement Ben Simmons. I mean, this is the perfect roster for him. He's got a lob threat in Nick Claxton. He's got elite 3-point shooters in Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Cam Johnson to complement him. And it's just a tall lineup where you can switch everybody defensively. I mean, theoretically, they should at least be a top 10 or top 5 defense, and I wouldn't really expect anything less. This team is full of versatile defenders. And when you have guys like that can not only defend really well, but that can also shoot threes really well, that's a recipe for immense success in the NBA. And so with that, I think Ben Simmons is set up for an extremely successful year with the Brooklyn Nets. And we will see, right? We'll see if he can stay healthy, and I hope he will. But I think with the Nets roster construction and just Ben being able to be healthy, given the team that he has around him, I think he's set up for an extremely good year. But I think the question remains with Simmons. Is he going to be a starter or not? Dinwiddie, he played really well as a starter for both the Mavericks and the Nets, but we've seen Dinwiddie be very successful coming off the bench as well, and he can obviously play in a variety of roles. So given that, right, is Simmons going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? Because when he came off the bench late in the year, when Dinwiddie came over in the trade, he didn't really have the best success. Now, I get that then, right, he was still dealing with some injury issues, but I think Simmons would fit better in that starting lineup because I think you need Dinwiddie's playmaking and shot creation coming off the bench, right? So he can set up guys like Cam Thomas, Royce O'Neal, Lonnie Walker, right? So I think in that regard, Dinwiddie would be a better fit coming off the bench, and Simmons would be better in the starting lineup because, like I said, that creates a defensive juggernaut in the starting lineup. No team is going to want to face anybody where you have a 6'10 point guard and Ben Simmons running the point and being a defensive monster, and then with Nick Claxton manning the paint, and then you have 3 switchable defenders in Dorian Finney-Smith, Mikal Bridges, and Cam Johnson. No team is going to want to play that. So I think just with that alone, just with Simmons fit in the starting lineup and the defensive juggernaut that him and the rest of that starting lineup can create, I think that's where he's going to fit best. And I think the scary truth that nobody's noticing about this Nets team is that they may be a sneaky contender in the Eastern Conference this year. I mean, think about it. What weaknesses does this roster really have? I mean, the only thing you could say is maybe shot creation, right? Because they have a lot of tall, lanky wings and maybe guys that aren't known for playmaking. But I think with Dinwiddie and Simmons setting up all these different shooters that they have, In my opinion, I think that will be enough. As long as they have Mikal Bridges scoring 25 a game, and Cam Johnson making up for that as well and taking a big leap, I think the Nets will be fine offensively. But obviously, that's going to be a talking point with them, right? Are they going to have enough offense? Because clearly, I think when they played the Sixers in the 2023 playoffs, it was a closer series than people thought. And the Nets actually played really well defensively. The issue was they just didn't have enough offense to win any games in those series. So, will, the additions of like Lonnie Walker, maybe Dennis Smith Jr. be enough? Will Cam Johnson take enough of a leap to catapult this Nets offense, into an above average one, right? Will it be enough? I don't know, but the Nets will at least be good enough defensively to make the playoffs, to be a solid team, but can they do enough offensively to be an elite team, and at least get in that, top tier range of, let's say, that top 4 or top 5 teams in the East? Because obviously, right, you're going to have Miami, you're going to have Boston, you're going to have Milwaukee, you're going to have Philadelphia, but really, what teams outside of that are true contenders in the East? I think in that regard, it's pretty much wide open. I think the Nets can slide in there, right? They got in there as a 6th seed last year. Like I said, obviously got swept though by the Sixers, but they have a real prime opportunity because let's say like the Celtics or Sixers or Bucks or just any one of those top teams in the East don't have as successful of a season, right, due to regular season injuries. The Nets could slide up there and get a really good seeding for the playoffs, right? They are clearly a capable playoff team. But like I said, the question is, can they have a good enough offense? And the thing I really like with this Nets team is that Dinwiddie and Simmons, right, they can take turns running the offense and setting up all their shooters with Bridges, Johnson, Vinny Smith, O'Neal, Lonnie Walker, Cam Thomas, right? I could go down the line. This team has shooting, and when you have elite three-point shooting combined with really good defense and switchable defenders, you're going to be a really good team this league. And that's why I think nobody's talking about the Nets, and we need to talk about them more as a contender in the East. Because I think if everybody plays to their potential, if everybody's healthy on this roster, if Simmons can have a bounce-back year, this team is easily a contender in the East. And I don't even think it should be a conversation, right? So we will see. But overall, I think Ben Simmons, if he can have a healthy year, if he can have a bounce back season, if he can be that starting point guard and playmaker and switchable defender that the Nets need, they can truly be a contender in the East that nobody will see coming, that nobody's been talking about. And I am super high on this Nets team. I think they can have an excellent year. I think that Ben Simmons can have a bounce back year. I think that Cam Johnson can take a leap. And I think with all their three-point shooting, all their defenders, they can have a really underrated year in the East and possibly be one of the top contenders, not just in the East, but in the NBA as well. So that's what I want to talk about with the Brooklyn Nets. I think they're a really underrated team heading this upcoming season. And I'm looking forward to seeing Ben Simmons have a bounce back year. I think he will. I'm rooting for him. He's still an elite defender, an elite playmaker, and I think that will continue to carry over in this upcoming season. So like I said, looking forward to seeing Ben Simmons play. Looking forward to seeing how this Nets team does. I think they're going to be a sneaky contender, so we will see. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.